Blade and Soul New is a revitalized version of the original Blade and Soul MMORPG developed by NCSoft. This iteration introduces significant updates, notably a transition to Unreal Engine 4, enhancing both visual fidelity and performance. The game continues to immerse players in martial arts combat within an expansive open-world setting. The shift to Unreal Engine 4 provides improved graphics and smoother gameplay experiences. It gives you a similar feeling to the combat of Black Desert Online, but less flashy. Blade and Soul Neo doesn't have the usual DPS, tank, and support roles. Instead, every class has to keep himself alive using the various mobility skills the game offers. Blade and Soul Neo as of now has 7 classes. Blade Master, a balanced and versatile class that uses swords and martial arts to attack and defend. Blade Masters can switch between 2 stances, Basic and Draw, which offer different skills and effects. Blade Masters can also use blocks, parries, and counters to deflect incoming attacks and unleash devastating skills, such as Blade Call, Flicker, and Hone Slash. Blade Masters are good at damage, defense, and utility, but they require timing and positioning to execute their skills. Assassin, a stealthy and agile class that uses daggers and poisons to deal damage and evade enemies. Assassins can enter stealth mode, which makes them invisible and grants them access to powerful skills, such as Shadow Slash, Heart Stab, and Lightning Rod. Assassins can also use traps, bombs, and venom to weaken and disable their foes. Assassins are good at single-target damage, mobility, and crowd control, but they are vulnerable to detection and area attacks. Force Master, a ranged and elemental class that uses staves and orbs to manipulate fire, ice, and wind. Force Masters can cast various spells, such as Fireball, Frost Palm, and Windstorm, to deal damage and apply effects to enemies and allies. Force Masters can also use barriers, shields, and heals to protect themselves and their team. Force Masters are good at area damage, crowd control, and support, but they rely on mana and cooldowns to sustain their skills. Kung Fu Master, a melee and physical class that uses fists and feet to deliver powerful and precise strikes. Kung Fu Masters can use combos, grapples, and counters to dominate their enemies in close combat and unleash skills such as Tiger Strike, Iron Shoulder, and Rising Dragon. They can also use Chi, a resource that builds up with successful attacks, to activate special skills such as Searing Palm, Blue Moon, and Tremor. Kung Fu Masters are good at single-target damage, mobility, and survivability, but they require skill and accuracy to land their attacks. Destroyer, a brute and resilient class that uses axes and grabs to overpower and smash enemies. Destroyers can use spins, slams, and throws to deal damage and disrupt enemies, and unleash skills such as Cleave, Wrath, and Execute. They can also use Fury, a resource that builds up with damage taken, to activate special skills such as Typhoon, Ember Stomp, and Eradicate. Destroyers are good at area damage, crowd control, and tanking, but they lack mobility and range. Summoner. The Summoner is the closest to a support class in Blade and Soul Neo. It's a supportive and summoning class that uses staves and cats to heal and assist allies. Summoners can summon a cat companion, which can fight, tank, or distract enemies, and use skills such as Lunge, Crouch, and Ankle Biter. They can also use spells such as Sunflower, Briar Patch, and Doom and Bloom to deal damage and heal allies. Summoners are good at healing, support, and utility, but they depend on their cat and positioning to survive. Blade Dancer, a hybrid and agile class that uses swords and dances to combine melee and ranged attacks. Blade Dancers can use spins, dashes, and slashes to deal damage and evade enemies, and unleash skills such as Sunder, Rolling Typhoon, and Lightning Flash. They can also use dances such as Storm Cleave, Flaming Scourge, and Whirling Scourge to channel powerful elemental attacks. Blade Dancers are good at damage, mobility, and crowd control, but they have low defense and health. The game has a decent character creation system with a fair amount of customizations. The reception of Blade and Soul New has been mixed. Some players appreciate the graphical enhancements and the nostalgic return to the game's roots. However, concerns have been raised regarding the introduction of daily limits on dungeon entries, which some feel restricts gameplay freedom. especially because you can buy potions from the in-game store that allow players to have more entries, which adds more pay-to-win elements to the game. Additionally, the absence of Arena 1v1 PvP and the emergence of bots have been points of contention within the community. So if you're going to play Blade and Soul Neo, I would say go with low expectations, play it for a couple of weeks, and enjoy what it offers. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Which MMO are you playing right now? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more MMO content.